Yes, people, hope everyone is doing good. The number 10. It's always a consistent and constant discussion, and rightfully so. It's a big part of the way we play. It's a big part of our system. It's a big part of the Daniel Farke system. Going into the Premier League, we need to get that right. I'll discuss players I like usual, like I usually do in these videos. But I've done some prior research. I've looked into every single, more or less every single number 10 that Daniel Farke played with in every season from his Dortmund days. I've analysed them. I've looked at the key traits from each player, and I've mirrored that to find a pool of traits or kind of attributes in players that I think Daniel Farke wants in a number 10, and I'll use that to discuss the players I like. Stay with me. So yeah, hope you enjoy this one. Like I said, I've done a lot of research on this. It took hours this morning in this heat to get this done. A lot of research. So thank you very much, and let's get into it straight away. But just very quickly, and this is an important thing, and I'll fly through these. I won't stay long on each one. So I've gone through each season, Daniel Farke, since he left Lippstadt, since he went to Borussia Dortmund second team. So November 15-16, I've gone each formation he played in that year, which is important because people are saying, will we play a 10? So this is kind of looking at, typically, does Daniel Farke change his formation? Has he got a history of doing it? So in the first season, again, we're looking 10 years ago here, he did often play a 3-4-2-1, a 4-1-4-1, and a 4-4-2. Didn't play the 4-2-3-1 yet. But within that role, he still had, as you can see, he still had two players in behind the striker at all times, apart from when he played the 4-4-2. I know that's behind my head. Quick look at that for you there. The players that played in that role, that attacking midfield role, the guys behind the striker, were this guy here, Michael Eberwein, who played 13 times in that role. We had Tamo Harder, who played once in that role, and Marco Huber, who played 7 times in that role. The key thing is, in this formation, in this particular way, he preferred, and again, this is heights, by the way. This is heights in meters. So preferred the big guy in this team, in this formation. But what is key, when he played with the two behind, in this, he always had a smaller guy with him. It was always this guy and either Harder and Huber. That's something I noticed early on. But again, sticking with the big guy. The year after was relatively straightforward. Again, the same two, as you can see. Very much played a 4-1-4-1 this season, like this. And what's interesting about the year after is this part. Played a 4-1-4-1, didn't play the 4-2-3-1 yet, as I mentioned. It's the same two. And he had a big guy in Michael Eberwein and a smaller guy in Marco Huber. Very contrasting, very different players. So initially I'm going, right, so there's not a direct profile then. The year after, and this is where he went to Norwich. Again, I'll fly through this. It was James Maddison. Small guy, technical, good on the ball, good vision. Rancic was the second choice, but it was Maddison. He was the man. So this changed it. This isn't a 4-2-3-1. He's changed formation now to a 4-2-3-1, as you can see. Year after at Norwich, when they won the league, very important, played Marco Stiepermann 41 times in that role. He's gone back to big guy. Cantwell played there, Littner played there, but it was very much Marco Stiepermann. Again, 4-2-3-1 formation. Here it is. It's arrived. It's here to stay. The year after in the Premier League, and look at this team and tell me that this team is, you know, good enough to stay in any league in the Premier League. Look at it. Just look at it, please. He played Kevin McLean in the 10. Marco Stiepermann in the 10 when he wasn't injured. And then brought in Duda in January, who started when he came in. Very different profiles from each other. So again, smaller guy in these two, bigger guy in Stiepermann. Stiepermann was his main choice, but then changed. When he got to the high league, he preferred in the final bit of the season the technical, quick, you know, box to box, not box to box, but you know, a guy that can build play and integrate players as opposed to the big target, more target man. Interesting. Year after in the Championship where they won the league, I'll move my head again. Again, he stuck with Stiepermann, played Rancic there, so very much two big box to box midfielders who can be box threats in the air, aerially, but actually quite good on the ball and very technical. Played Lucas Rupp a few times there as well. And they're the three formations. But again, 4-2-3-1 very much. Did say as well, last, again, in the Premier League, 4-2-3-1. His final year in the Prem, where he got sacked in November, so there's not a massive thing. He didn't really play with that role. He played with it a few times with McLean in there, again. Again, played with the two, very much defensive players, though, and then played with a back three. He brought that back for a few games. Obviously got sacked, didn't work out, whether it's one striker, no 10, 2 10s, didn't work out. Got sacked. Moving on to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Again, 4-2-3-1. Played a back three 2 or 3 times in the entire season, that's it. But played with that 10 a lot of the time, or played with 2 10s. But very much like this. And this was interesting again, because it's not a specific profile. Jonas Hoffmann. Small guy, technical. If you've not watched Jonas Hoffmann, he's a fantastic player. Lovely player, very smart player. Lars Stindl, experienced, but again, can play on the wing. Very small. Florian Neuhaus, bit taller, bit more rangy, a bit more of a midfielder as opposed to a winger. And then Christoph Kramer, again, played 12 times in that role. Again, tall, more or less a CDM that played in that role. So it comes down to this. And these are from all them players I've just spoke about, I was thinking about it. Is there a specific height? No. In certain situations, in certain seasons, he preferred a taller guy, more or less in lower leagues, I found. But when he got higher, or in higher leagues, he was very versatile in who he put there. Some games he'd play technical players there, smaller technical players. Some games he'd play tall physical players there. Some games he'd play 2 players and change the formation. So there's variety, but what is key, and this is what I've always thought in my mind, he had that beautifully close ball control, excellent on the half-turn, excellent in tight spaces, creative player in Buendía. Never played him in the 10 bar 1 or 2 times his entire Norwich City. Which again, I think that shows that potentially the 10 is defined upon who's around that player. So I've gone with this. From all them players, all their attributes, created 6 things from all them players combined that I think work and I think that Daniel Farke wants in that role. The first one, for me, what do all them players have? Work rate. One thing I found, and look, the guys at Dortmund, the earlier guys, obviously I've not been able to watch them, so that is based on the internet. But there's a lot of sources that say similar things. And for all the players, and thinking of Aronson, even Rutter, although he wasn't the best at it, the key attribute is work rate, in my opinion. All the players that I mentioned before that played there are known to be hard workers. They work hard. So that, for me, is the core principle. That is basically, I don't think, if you're not a hard worker, you won't be signed. Second is physicality. I think that's very important in an ideal world for Daniel Farke. I think he wants the 10 to be physical. Whether that's big or strong, quick, I think there needs to be a key physical element in there. That could be agile, but there's got to be a key physical element in there for me. 3, defensive responsibility. All of them, again, a lot of them were midfielders. A lot of them did play defensive midfielders as well. Steichmann started out as a left back. There's defensive responsibility in there. Aronson, very good off the ball. Rutter wasn't the best off the ball, but he had a lot of these other traits. Right? Maybe this is why I'm thinking of Buendía. Is he that guy defensively? People asked about Nonto. Is he that guy defensively? These are the key traits for me. Looking at what they all have. Goal threat and creation, number 4. I think it's important, but not key. I think the first 3 are more important. The main goal threat in Farke teams comes from that 9 and the wingers. The creative comes from the wingers. The goal threat comes from the 9. The 10 is a goal threat, but not as important as these 3 above it, in my opinion. Versatile. I think they have to be versatile. You look at the players. A lot of the guys he's played in the 10 are traditionally either defensive midfielders, or wingers. And they play in those roles as well under Farke. There's not really a defined 10 apart from maybe Maddison. Everyone else was quite versatile. But Maddison, again, had that quality, which is the underlining thing for all this, obviously. And a strong game IQ, I think, is something that's very important. They've got to understand the game, understand the role, on and off the ball, in transition, marking, all that stuff. They need to understand the game. I think that's really important. All these players seem to be players that are smart. They understand how the game works. So those are the key characteristics I think Daniel Farke looks at in a number 10 so far in his career. That could change. You could throw that away because obviously it's a different challenge now. It's a new challenge. He's got the funds to spend. That's what I believe. I don't think it's a height thing. I don't necessarily think it's just a physical thing. I think it's a mix of all these in that order, in my opinion. So from that, I've created my own list of players I like in that role, and I've ranked them against these 6 stats to see how much they'd fit a Daniel Farke system. And this is the first one. And if you're watching Joe's show, you'll know I've mentioned a lot of these guys. The first one is Lavro Mayer from Wolfsburg. I think I said that right. I can't do these ones. From Wolfsburg, 27 years old. Now, a player I'm seriously impressed with. He's had a bad year of injuries, but it's not a constant theme in his career. Don't worry about that. So I've gone through them 6 or 7 traits. Yeah, sorry. So I've got goal threat and creations 2, whereas in the other thing it's 1. I've put that as 2, so there's 7 traits. And I ranked them out of 10 for each trait. And then I put them as a little score at the bottom with a little percentage, as you can see. So how, out of 100%, what percent are they perfect for a Daniel Farke system? This guy works extremely hard. One thing I really like about him, he's got a really, well, not extremely hard. He works very hard. He's got a good work rate. Not the most physical player, but a really strong game IQ. Really strong game IQ. He's so smart. He understands the build-up. He understands positional play. He understands where the threat is going to go, where he needs to be during attacks. Very smart player. Defensive attitude as well. Defensively, I think he's very solid in terms of positional and reading the game. Goal threat, not bad. Creation and versatile. Very versatile guy. I think he could play many roles. He can play wide. He has played wide. I think he could play deeper as well, potentially. Versatile player. Good. Very strong core of technical fundamentals. And creation, relatively creative. He's got a lot of attributes to his game that work really well. Now, this, of course, is a big caveat. This is just based on these things. This is not necessarily based on, are they actually good enough for the Premier League? Are they ready? Have they had a good season? This is particularly based on the things I believe Farke wants in a 10. And he got 70%, which is very high, by the way. That's a very good score. So he's one potentially that we could see at Leeds United. Oscar Glock, 21 years old, a little younger. Played in a lower league. Again, I've not considered these things within this rating system. Give him a decent work rate. Not the most physical player. Not the highest game IQ. A high game IQ. Not the best defensive attitude. Apologies. Yeah, very, very different. And this is the key thing. A lot of these profiles are very different. And it's down to how much weight you put in each of these. So Leeds United in the Premier League, for example, they might want a person with high work rate and high creation. They might not be really bothered about how versatile they are, how physical they are, how good game IQ they've got. They might just want someone who works really hard and can create when they win the ball. Again, that's not the point of this video. I don't know. I'm not part of that circle. I have no idea. I wish I was. It sounds fun. But the point being, this is just my personal work I've done on this. Not perfect, but it is what it is. Based on those ratings, for Oscar Glock, who is definitely the creative side of it, there is some stuff about his defensive work. He's played a lot on the wing, so he's relatively versatile. But what does that mean as a 10? Can he fit that sitting deeper, that defensive kind of mindset? I'm not too sure. Potentially. People that have watched him more may know more. But he got 46 out of 70, which is a 65% system fit. Good player. Very, very good player. Very silky, very creative. Gustavo S, one of my favourite players to watch. Now, obviously plays in Portugal. He's been there for he's played in the first team for 2 seasons, I believe, now. And he's 20 years old. He's still very, very young. Now, he's very different to the other profiles in the sense that he's very tall. He's over 6 foot tall, very long, very rangy. decent work rate, not the best. You know, he does his thing. Again, it's system. It's about learning the system. What system is he in? Physical, good in the air, very good in the air, very good at using his body in the way that Rutter did. He's good at getting his body between ball and man, winning fouls, drawing fouls. Very good in that sense. Game IQ, something you can develop, not terrible. I still think there's some decision-making stuff when he's deeper up in the pitch or even higher in the pitch to make him more effective and consistent in his output. Defensive attitude, again, similar. Something you can develop as a young man. Goal threat, massive goal threat. He's got a lot of attributes, both physically and technical. There's a lot of goal threat within him. Again, there's not the consistency there in goal threat, but the actual attributes, yeah, spot on for me. Creation, like I said, can drive from deep, can find a pass. He's very rogue in the sense that he'll try things, which makes you lose the ball more, but also makes you extremely creative and kind of unpredictable, the opposition. Versatile, again, he's young, so this hasn't developed, but a player that is very much a 10 for me in a certain system. I don't think he's necessarily a guy that can play out wide or in the 9 or even deeper. I think he's very much a rangy 10, technical 10. I think he works really well in that role. As he gets older, I could maybe see him as a second striker, even as a progressive 8 potentially if he gets older and develops his game. But right now, not the most versatile player, very talented. And I think that physical side and that kind of Rutter similarities in certain senses, not in many, Farke might look at that and go, that's something I like. But of course, very inexperienced, a very high ceiling. Merlin Roll is one that serious footballer, but he's not had my one worry with him. I've mentioned him in a previous video. He's not yet had a consistent starting season where he's been the main man in that role. And I just realised I've not done colours for his thing, so I apologise. But work rate, I give a 7.5. He works very hard. If you've not watched him, he played at the under-21s and he was very good when he came on for Germany a lot of the time. The work rate and physical side of the game, I think he's perfect for a Farke system. I think there's a lot of attributes in this guy that you look at in this Farke team and go, we could do with that. We need that. That would work. Work rate and physicality too. He's very tall. He's about what? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's about 6'2". Very tall player, 23 years old now. He was linked a few years ago to some top teams as well. But like I said, he's not yet found that consistency. But he's seriously talented. Good work rate, good physical, good game IQ, good defensive attitude. And again, he's versatile. Not the most creative in terms of what we could have in that 10 role. There's some other players in this list who are much more creative than him. You know, can make something out of nothing. You know, can drive past players with ease. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's not that guy yet, or he's not done that. He's not shown that consistently. But he's very much an all-round package for me, who just needs to find consistency to be a very, very good all-round package. But he got 69%, which is very high score again in this list. We look at the other guys. Gustavo S got 65, 65, and 70. So 69, which is, yeah, he's interesting, his role. Very interesting. And then we've got Paul Nebel, and look, I think that's how you said it, Nebel. I don't know. Now, I want to caveat this one by saying I don't think this one's realistic. I don't think it's realistic at all. I think he could go to a selection of teams in the top of Germany, the top of France, or even top of Italy. He's one of them guys who could play Champions League football next year, is what I'm saying, at a top club. Mines might have even got Champions League. I think they got Europa League. I can't remember. But attributes-wise, he's very much the exact mould of creative. He is the traditional 10 that everyone thinks about. Glock kind of is similar to that as well, but he's more versatile. For me, this guy is very much a traditional 10. Close quarters, excellent ball control, thread a pass through a needle, good ball delivery, the core creator in a team. That's what this guy can do. He can shoot ridiculous ranges as well. So that's why goal threat, creation, game IQ were very, very high. whereas if one's not as high. Because he's very, very good at what he does. But he's not that versatile. Can play wider as well, I believe. But very much a 10. So again, this comes down to what weight do we put on these attributes, or whatever attributes Leeds are using. These are just attributes I think. I could be completely wrong. You know, is it that creator? Ideally, you want a mix of all, right? That's the point. That's going to be difficult. Yeah, and the guy we're linked with, Mario Struyken's Antellect. Didn't know much about him until we linked with him, but I've watched a little bit since. There's a lot to like about this guy. Again, very much fits that creative, that very smart kind of creative force in the final third that just picks it up. Like Pab, he just picks that ball up, knows exactly when he gets it, where it's going, has the passing range and passability to thread it through lines. Good player. So he's maybe one to watch. But again, there's stuff he needs to work on: physical, versatility, defensive side of the game. But yeah, 62% for him. Ricardo Schmid. Or Schmid. Schmid. Is it Schmid? It is. This guy has had a very good season in a relatively average / poor side. Was their creator. But he's more overall. He's nothing that stands out as ridiculously good, but he's very solid. Apart from physical, he's quite small. Can probably play, has the IQ to play several roles in a team. Very good work rate, works very hard. Liked to drop deep, which did affect sometimes his G&A. Likes to build up deeper, which did affect that. But there is an air of creativity around him. There's an air of high technical ability around him, mixed with work rate. So he's potentially one to watch. 25 years old now. He's not necessarily that young anymore. But he's a guy in a relatively poor side who did stand out. So yeah, talented player. That's why he's in this list. Felix Leal. I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Says it's Strasbourg. Now, again, there's a lot of caveats. I don't personally think this guy is ready for the Premier League. But profile-wise, I think he's pretty good. I think he needs a consistent game at Strasbourg next season. Consistent games at Strasbourg next season where he's getting results. You know, there's a lot of good ingenuity around him. There's a lot of good kind of traits around him, but it's just the consistency side of it. Work rate 7.5. Again, apologies for the colours. Physicality 5. Game IQ 6. Defensive attitude 7. Goal threat 6.5. Creation 8. Versatility 7. I think this guy could probably play several roles across the front four. I genuinely do. I think he's got, again, a good core base of a mix of physical and technical attributes. So that's, yeah, good player. He got 67%. He got 67%. I like him. He's very raw. He's very kind of, what's the word? Tell you what he can do really well. His first touch play is very good. In fact, game IQ is probably harsh. I could probably put that to a 7. He's very good at doing things one touch. That ball comes into him, he'll give the pass. It's just sometimes the decision making, that's why the game IQ is a bit lower. But he's very good at moving quickly, playing through the thirds. He's always an outlet. He never hides. He's always an outlet. Ball will come into him. He'll know what he's doing with it. Again, not the biggest goal threat. Needs to get more G&A, needs to work on that consistency. But a fun player to watch. And definitely want to watch for the future. Really talented guy. The final one is Alexander Golovin. I've liked this guy for a long time. In my opinion, this one would be a very good signing for Leeds United. I think it works. He's got a lot of experience at a high level, consistently for years. He didn't have a great year last year. He's got a slight dodgy injury record, but he still plays a lot of games this season, but he will miss games. Last year was bad. Not bad, but he didn't have a lot. He had 2 or 3 different injuries in the season. But again, the stats are there. I just think he's very solid all round. He's also got experience. I also think the intensity won't be an issue in the Premier League. So for me, he's probably the top 2 easily. Very smart player. Very good on set pieces, very good at corners, all that stuff. Very good in that side of the game. Good passing range. But he's in his years, he's gathered loads of experience. Anytime I've watched him, he just looks so calm and comfortable on the ball. And ability to do things with it. Again, not going to get you ridiculous numbers every season, you know, but a guy who is very important in a team that's looking to create. And in Leeds United, we need a core creator, in my opinion. And I think this guy will be a pretty good guy to just knit everything together. If you've not watched this guy, he's a very good player. Very underrated, in my opinion. Could he be one, potentially? That's it. I just want to show one more thing. And that is, of course, the lists. I know you guys like the lists. So here are some names that didn't make it in there. Let me know. Go through them, screenshot them, go through whatever. There's some that I just don't think are realistic. There's some that I just don't think are ready. There's some that I've not seen enough of, to be honest. I did want to share one guy as well. Sebari at PSV. I've seen his name a lot online. I'd love him. He's one of my favourite players. Again, watching a lot of PSV last year. He's a ridiculous player. But he's not realistic. So if we do get him, come back to this video and tell me I'm wrong. I put him in the 8s. He played more as the 8 last year. But a very talented player as well who can play the 10. I'd love him. And players like Gus Till, who I think systematically is perfect. Gus Till has just signed a long-term contract at PSV, fortunately. So yeah. There's a few in here, Stephen Mijans. I can't speak. I'm terrible at language. I apologise. There's a few players in here that I like. But yeah. That's it, people. Pavel Sulk as well as Andrea. I know he likes on. He's a ridiculous player, this guy, by the way. But yeah. See you guys in a bit. Thank you for the support. Let me know everything that you guys thought of the video and this position thing, the 10. Will we play over 10? History says yes. History says yes. He has shown signs of playing a back 3 or without a 10, but not very often. But let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.